Hey, hey, welcome or welcome back. It is, as always, good to see you today. Hello, Sai. So good to see you. The YouTube wife popping in on time, even. Miracles never cease to exist. Yeah, it is hump day. Hope you're all having a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. Yeah, I'm having a rough week. I'm having a hard time focusing this week. I can't focus for shit on anything. So it's a rough week. But um yeah, Amberlynn had her members live last night. Let me see, let me get my notes. Only took a couple of notes. Um so the thing, hey Mars. So she started out her live stream saying that she wanted to start making her lives public starting on June 10th to give members a month to decide if they wanted to cancel or not. Um, because she feels like her words are being taken out of context and people aren't, reaction channels, aren't representing what she's saying accurately. And she doesn't like that. Plus, people are stealing her live streams and discords. And she doesn't like that. But she was going to make them be members only chats. So open to the public, but members only chats. However, she forgets that non-members can still super chat, but at least then she'd be getting money from them, right? But a lot of people were upset about this in the live stream and were pushing back, and they're like, hey, these live streams are the only perk that we're getting as members. So if you're taking that away, what is the purpose of us even being members? And they're like, why don't you do two live streams a week? One public, one private for members only. And Amber's like, no, mm, that's too much work, basically. Heaven forbid, heaven forbid she do two lives a week. I mean, she does do edited content also, but heaven forbid she sit down for an hour, 2 hours, twice a week, and talk to her members. The horror of having to work a few hours a week more. Mars says, I'm not watching it even if it's free, and not just because I'm asleep. uh, but people pushed back and were upset so much that apparently she's changed her mind on doing public lives, and she's going to keep them as members only. Um, and then she talked about some things that happened in her childhood with her dad's friends, things like that. Um, she went on a rant about Mr. Snowflake and how she knows that he's getting divorced or is divorced, one of the two. That she has sources, that she has a friend that can find information. But apparently, according to Amberlynn, Mr. Snowflake's wife is a public figure and had a public post. Her description on whatever was saying that she's a single mother. So, uh, Amberlynn really does not like Mr. Snowflake. And then people were asking about the cookies, and she was very, very confused about the Cracker Barrel cookie. She's like, "What do you mean I ordered 5 cookies?" She's like, "No, I only got 1 cookie." Um, she said that she tried to order a beignet with her meal, but once you've placed your order and placed it and it goes through, um, you can't change it, right? So Cracker Barrel contacted her and was like, "Hey, we don't have any beignets. What would you like in place of it?" And Amberlynn's like, "Oh, do you have a chocolate chip cookie?" And they're like, "Yeah." So they replaced a beignet with a chocolate chip cookie. But here's the thing. You can't order a single you can't order one beignet. They come in like a basket of like several. at least at my Cracker Barrel. Let me I'm gonna have to be careful here showing my screen um because my address. Uh yeah, Mars, it was so weird. She was talking about it was very dismissive about like how like, oh, you can't even make a marriage work is kind of how it came across. And she was basically just like, oh, you know, he shits on Amberlynn's relationships whenever he's apparently not a good partner because his wife divorced him. But it's like people can get divorced for many, many reasons. Maybe they just grew apart. Maybe they just fell out of love. There are many reasons for why people get divorced. And yes, Amber's mom and dad are divorced, probably because of the drugs. So with the beignet, let me get my screen up here. So make sure I don't show too much. We have, so even with the beignets, at least at my Cracker Barrel, um, let me see, where's the sweets? Sweets all day. Why is your manager wanting to? It's time for Girl World. Um, so the beignets, it's 7.27. It's like a basket of them, right? There's like several beignets in a basket. You don't just get one beignet, as far as I'm aware. But she had it replaced with a single cookie. So a single cookie for the same price as a basket of beignets seems very not equal. But also, I thought, okay, maybe she was replacing the bread in her meal with a beignet. But if we go to now again, these are all controlled by the local stores. But and this is Grubhub, not Uber Eats. So here is the meatloaf meal. She got three sides. But here's your bread choice: biscuits, cornbread, or cornbread and biscuits, or no bread. So you can't replace your bread. I mentioned this last time as well. You can't replace your bread um, with a cookie or a beignet, at least at my Cracker Barrel. So, um, yeah, it's very weird. Yeah, I mean the cookies are sold in packs, but they're individually wrapped, right? Um, and I don't think the kids' meals come with like a single cookie or something. Um, and I guess Amberlynn hadn't watched my video previously because I spoke about the cookies in my last video because she seemed very, very confused by the cookie thing. And she's like, what? No, she's like, it was a replacement item, or excuse me, as Amberlynn says, in replace of a beignet. But you can't get a single beignet. And at least at my Cracker Barrel, your bread options do not include a beignet or a cookie. It's only biscuits, cornbread, or muffins. Biscuits or cornbread muffins. Um, Mars. Amber couldn't make a relationship work with Emily LMAO. The bar is very low and she still couldn't reach it. Well, I mean, so the thing with Emily though, Mars, is there was a lot of external factors in that relationship. There was a lot of interference from outside of that relationship. And I don't think Emily was in a place emotionally to move into a serious relationship, in my opinion, based on posts that we've seen from Emily on Instagram and things that Emily has said afterwards. I don't think she was in a good place emotionally to move on. Lizzie says it's weird they would replace it with a single cookie, especially if the cookies are sold in pet. Yeah, it's very weird that if it's like, oh hey, this like, 4 or 5 beignets, we'll give you a cookie. It's very weird. But that was Amberlynn's reasoning. That's what she said. She only got one cookie because Cracker Barrel didn't have any beignets, which is what she ordered. And honestly, I don't think Amberlynn would know that Cracker Barrel had beignets unless she did try to order one. So um, that's that's what she said. But again, I don't think those are even sold in singles. They come in like a little basket of several. So that is that. That was the gist of the live stream. I wasn't paying a lot of attention because I was working. I was sort of paying attention, just but same as always, there's things that I missed. Those were the highlights that I caught though. So I do know she was wearing this shirt that she's wearing here was the shirt that she was wearing during the live stream. So she must have recorded this video after the live stream because she was wearing the outhouse shirt or dress, whatever the fuck it is. All this cookie talk makes you want a cookie. I'm sorry, love. I'm sorry you want a cookie now. Hey, DV, good to see you. I hope you are doing well. Hey, Zombies now, thank you. I love my shirt as well. Um, so I think that's all. Yeah, not a lot from the stream. She was feeling better, after, the cellulitis and stuff and blah blah, but she's feeling better from that. So we do have her video uploaded today titled Cracker Barrel Gate and No Longer Weighing In or Counting Calories. Weigh in episode 7. And yeah, if you do happen to be new here, I do speed Amberlynn up to 1.25 speed because she does speak a little too slowly for me. So, that being said, Lizzie says, I have delicious Trader Joe's oatmeal chocolate chip cookies. They are the best. So far, so good for D, and she would share. Well, you're both in Cali, so maybe you can share with Sai. I would send you some cookies if I had any, Sai, but I don't. Nope, no cookies. I'm looking around as I look around to see, oh, do I have any cookies? No, I don't have any cookies on my desk. Um, Sai, don't tease. Um, but yeah, I don't know what's going to work for Amberlynn. We'll see here. This video is a short one, so we won't be here too terribly late today. You know what helps? If I unmute her.
Hey guys, welcome to another weigh-in video. All right, let's get straight into the questions. How has your
You know what? It sounds like you guys are hearing her through my headphones. Hold on.
BE improved? So I noticed.
No, what? That is so bizarre. I don't know why. Are you guys hearing an echo on her? Because it looks like I'm getting 2 inputs from Amberlynn, and I don't know why.
Even though I did
Yeah. Give me one. Let me mute one of those.
outpatient for only a few months, I noticed that like the tools, the knowledge, and the things that I
Okay.
talked about in
All right.
outpatient
All
during
right.
that
Hold
time.
on.
Hey guys, welcome to another weigh-in video. All right, let's get straight into the question.
Sai, your girlish figure is perfectly fine the way it is. You can have a single cookie, love. See, even Lizzie agrees.
How has your BE improved?
Hold on.
Hey
Sorry.
guys, welcome to another weigh-in video. All right, let's get straight into the questions. How has your BE improved? So I noticed, even though I did outpatient for only a few months, I noticed that like the tools, the knowledge, and the things that I talked about in outpatient during that time started helping me. But genuinely, all the credit goes to the 9 months of therapy I did with a psychologist when I was gonna get weight loss surgery. I was only supposed to see that psychologist for 3 months, but I kept going because it genuinely was like changing my life, and it still has. Like, that's a psychologist that diagnosed me with BPD. Now I'm aware, and that's like the first thing that you need to do when you're a borderline is you need to have that awareness, because without the awareness, you're like, what's the problem? There's nothing wrong with me. You can have tiny little moments of like, okay, something seems off. What's wrong with me? But I don't really know what. It's the awareness that really helps. All right, let's not
So, but I think that was the same psychologist that told her she didn't have binge eating. And that person was asking, how's your binge eating? And now Amberlynn's like, I don't have binge eating disorder. So, and after she miraculously was told she doesn't have binge eating disorder, she no longer binged.
talk about that though. That's not what this video is about. That psychologist genuinely like changed my life. Yes, I still overeat. Yes, I still have issues, but the BE, like I don't do that. I'm not saying I'm perfect by any means. What I am saying is those 9 months drastically helped me. And then since then, I have done on and off therapy, and I've done on and off working on myself with
No, you haven't. You haven't done on and off therapy since then. You haven't seen a therapist since you got to Oklahoma. Right now is the first time that you're seeing a therapist after you quit seeing that therapist. And your outpatient stuff was the year before seeing that therapist.
whether it be workbooks or just like the daily journaling, like finding coping mechanisms is literally going to change your life if you struggle
Yeah, you have to find coping mechanisms, but you don't have any.
with BE. Like it's hard, obviously, but I've improved drastically in that area. Do you ever do the lymphatic massages for your illnesses? So by illnesses, I'm pretty sure they mean my lipedema and lymphedema. And I do, but it is hard to do on your own
It's
self.
hard to do on
So I do the best I
yourself.
can, but it's not something that I do like religiously because like I said, it is very hard to do like by myself. And I'm not gonna ask anyone to do it for me because that is my job. Why are you not allowed to be on estrogen?
I wonder if she could get like a roller. Like I have a knobby roller that you can use on like the back of your legs and things. I wonder if one of those would help her, or like a massage gun.
So some cancers actually feed off of estrogen, and the cancer that I was diagnosed with and the stage and grade that it was at, it was feeding off of estrogen. Does your mom grocery shop with you? Sometimes. I would say 9 times out of 10 she does, but we both have our own cart. She goes her own way, I go my own way. It's like killing two birds with one stone because she gets what she needs, I get what I need, and then we usually meet each other out at the car when we're done. Did you order 5 cookies from Cracker Barrel? So Cookie Gate was happening in my live stream, which I literally just ended my live stream. So that just ended and now we're here. I was so confused because people were saying I had 9 cookies and people were saying I had 12 cookies. I was genuinely lost. But I guess it turns out that people saw somewhere that the only way you can order chocolate chip cookies is if you order 5 or 10 at a time, which before I even found that out, I was trying to explain that the only reason why I had a chocolate chip cookie was because I was trying to get these like beignets. They just looked and sounded so good at the time.
So now she's pluraling it, saying beignets. Yes. And yes, the only way that you can order cookies from Cracker Barrel, if you're ordering just the cookies, is in a 5 pack or a 10 pack.
But when I went to order it and then the DoorDasher went to go get it, turns out they didn't have those. And I was like, okay. So I messaged back and I was like, do they have chocolate chip cookies? I'll take one of those. And then they just gave me a chocolate chip cookie. So no, I didn't have 5 or 9 or 12 chocolate chip cookies. I just had one. All right.
Yeah, so that was a very expensive chocolate chip cookie then, because the beignets are going to be a lot more expensive than one cookie. I would have just been like, nope, it's all right. I'll get it refunded.
Let's get into the goals that I had last week. My goal was literally just to look into GLP-1s, and I have done that. So if you haven't watched any of my last videos from the last week, literally I signed up, I did the questionnaire, I was fixing to get approved for a GLP-1, which has been very easy for me in the past. But this company asked about my gallbladder. I told them I had
Yeah, they're covering all their bases. How dare they?
gallstones over a decade ago, and they denied me. And
Oh, you said that you had gallstones over a decade ago, but you've had gallbladder issues off and on for years. And the whole reason that you got taken off of Ozempic a few years ago was because your primary care physician was concerned about sludge in your gallbladder. They were noticing these issues. So for you to just be like, oh, it was 10 years ago that I had gallstones, is being entirely dismissive of all of your gallbladder issues and the issues that you could have taking Ozempic or a GLP-1. Maybe the driver took the other four. Yeah, so whenever we get orders here in the US using DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, other places, um, the restaurants seal the bag.
And I almost gave up, but instead I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be an advocate for myself. I genuinely believe the possible reoccurrence of a gallstone is less severe than me staying the size. They did
Uh, so I would disagree. I think they are equally dangerous, and I think she needs to consult with her primary care physician because if you get a blockage like I had that damn near blocks the entire thing and you don't take care of it, it can go septic and it can kill you. Mine was getting close to that. Um, but if you get a blockage like that, they have to do surgery. You have to get your gallbladder removed. And having gallbladder surgery at Amberlynn's size is also a pretty high risk. So I mean, if I were Amberlynn, I would discuss this with my primary care physician to see is it what do you think the percentage chance is? What do you think the risk is? I've had gallbladder stones in the past. Or gallstones in the past. I've had gallbladder issues. Do you think this is worth the risk? And I think she should discuss this with her primary care physician instead of trying to circumvent it and trying to find one of these companies that will be like, oh, yeah, we don't give a fuck. Here, we'll give it to you. She needs to be working with her doctor. She needs to be monitored. She needs to be checking in and having tests done. Lizzie says that's the thing. She's trying to take a shortcut to get these meds, but she has issues where she should really be monitored. Well, yeah, 100%. She needs to take these things seriously just in case they do cause other issues. And she needs to talk to her doctor. Yeah, I agree, Lizzie. The telehealth sites aren't the same as seeing your doctor, 100%.
did not respond to me, so I'm over it. Okay,
Wait,
cool. So
hold on.
less it for myself. I genuinely believe the possible reoccurrence of a gallstone is less severe than me staying the size. They did not respond to me, so I'm over it. Okay, cool. So that brings me into my goals for this week. My first
So now it's going to be this company's fault if she's not able to lose weight because they denied her. So it's this company's fault because they wouldn't give her the medication. So now she's not able to lose the weight. It's not going to be her fault for working on getting other tools and working on improving her diet and maybe going for a couple of walks. It's this company's fault. No need to apologize, Lizzie. There is a delay. Yeah, there's a delay, so it is what it is. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, maybe my internet is slow, so it's very delayed for you all.
goal is that I want to talk to my doctor and make an appointment, and talk
Wait,
brings me
hold
into
on.
my goals for this week. My first goal is that I want to talk to my doctor and make an
Okay.
appointment and talk about GLP-1s and see what he thinks.
Good. Good.
I'm willing to closely monitor my gallbladder if that will make him feel more safe about putting me on a GLP-1. Number 2, I want to just work on my relationship with food. Period. Number 3,
You know what would help with that? Either seeing a mental health professional that specializes in EDs or working with a dietitian that specializes in EDs. I recommend getting a dietitian that specializes in EDs.
stop the daily weigh-ins and just weigh myself once a week. All right, so now let's talk
I think once a week sounds great.
about how my week went. So last week I was feeling shitty, I was feeling defeated, I was feeling overwhelmed, I was feeling like I was drowning, I was depressed, I was low. I genuinely was not in a good place, and I feel so much better. I feel like I can breathe again. I feel like I have reached the surface of the water and I am no longer drowning. I hate when I reach lows like that because it reflects in all of my life, and I try very hard to put on a smile and to still be positive and happy, and sometimes it's hard. It's a scary feeling, but I feel a lot better,
It
and
is
I'm just
hard.
very happy about that.
It is hard to record and be in front of a camera whenever you're feeling poopy or not having a great mental health day. I've had those issues too whenever I've needed to record a video or do a reaction or do something and I'm having a rough day or not feeling great mentally or just like this week's not a great week for me. I'm having tons of focus issues. I'm just having a rough week as well. So I get it. It's hard to really get in there whenever you're not feeling great about things.
So I decided in the middle of last week that I will no longer be doing daily weigh-ins because they were messing with my head. I also decided that I will
I knew they would. I absolutely knew they would.
no longer be counting calories. I will strictly
Okay. Now, again, for some people, counting the calories, when you don't have a good relationship with food, counting calories can be triggering. So I understand her not doing that for right now. But she goes back and forth on these things so much without getting the professional help to help her with these things. But for Amberlynn to not count calories at all, I get it. She needs to work on eating at regular times, eating when she's hungry, stopping eating when she's full, not eating unless she's hungry. She needs to work on those relationships, listening to her hunger cues, getting her hunger cues functioning properly by working with a dietitian. Because I understand that whenever you get caught, like I I had issues with that. I'm back to counting calories now, but it took me a year working with my dietitian before she wanted me to start counting, where she felt comfortable having me counting calories. So, because you can get into the numbers where you're like, well, I'm still kind of hungry, but oh, I've already had 1,500 or 1,600 calories today. Okay, I'm not gonna eat anything, even if you're like really, really hungry. Being a little hungry when you're trying to lose weight is going to happen. But it's just gonna cause more issues if you start focusing solely on the numbers and not listening to your body as much as well. It's going to cause issues and could lead to ED behavior.
be focusing on weighing myself once a week while working on my relationship with food. Instead of treating food like it's the problem, the reality is that I'm the problem. Nothing
I'm the problem, it's me. Right, Mars. She needs to, so like she just said, she needs to work on her relationship with food. I worked with a dietitian for a year. I'm still working with my dietitian. Amberlynn needs to focus on getting her hunger cues in place first, listening to when she's hungry and then when she's not hungry, get her metabolism functioning properly by listening to those cues, and then she can get back to counting calories again. As long as she doesn't go ham on food, she can stay in that 2,600 calorie range without counting her calories, unless she's ordering 1,200 calorie meals from Cracker Barrel, like we just saw. Um, but she really does need to work on that food relationship before she can start counting calories in earnest. Because Amberlynn's the kind of person, she'll get too caught up with the scale, the calories, the scale, and it will send her into a spiral. We've seen her do this time and time again, which is why I keep saying she needs to work with a dietitian. The dietitian can help her focus on when to eat, timing the eating, getting her hunger cues, and then moving on to the counting calories. Because if she's listening to her hunger cues, she can keep her calories low enough to lose weight.
I do regarding losing weight will ever problem on weighing myself once a week while working on my relationship with food. Instead of treating food like it's the problem, the reality is that I'm the problem. Nothing I do regarding losing weight will ever be successful unless I work on that relationship. Losing weight is extremely important. That is how I'm going to save my life. But the only way I can lose weight is, like I said, working on that relationship with food. So that is going to be my main focus.
It does, but she also so the relationship with food also comes into the mental health aspect, which is again why I keep saying she needs to work with either a mental health professional or a dietitian that specializes in EDs.
I'm still going to continue the weigh-ins for you guys every single week, but by working on the relationship, the symptom, which has been the weight gain, that is going to improve, which will then be weight loss. And by working on my relationship with food, I want to use a tool like GLP-1. But on the side, I want to take all the tools that I've ever learned from having a dietitian and outpatient and taking those tools and realizing that food is fuel. You have
It's just this is oh, it's thundering. It's I'm laughing because who's been talking about tools in the toolbox for like a month and a half, 2 months now? You can tell that she watches my videos, but
have to eat to live, not live to eat. I still want to enjoy food. I don't want to think of food as a bad. That is where I know that my relationship with food is not going to be good. So by working on my relationship with food, I need to take the actions into doing so. And as I do them, I will talk to you guys more about it. But as of right now,
yeah, the it's going to come down to the execution, Mars.
I want to treat my body better. I want to nourish my body the way that we are supposed to. Anyways, I feel like I could talk about this for like 9 million years. So let's move on to the weigh-in. Last week I was 514.2 and this week I was 516.2. In the middle of the week, I did get down to 513. So I'm noticing I am just fluctuating right now and I'm not going to beat myself up for it because progress
Mm,
isn't just, oop, lose weight every single day.
no, it's weight loss isn't a constant downward spiral. It is going to have ebbs and flows and peaks and valleys.
Progress is very much lose some, gain some, lose some, gain some. Anyways, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.
All right. Boop, 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 boop. Where is my mouse? I lost my mouse. Yeah. No. Shh. All right. That wasn't much. Yeah, we'll see. She keeps going back and forth, back and forth. Hopefully she'll talk to her doctor. Hopefully she'll get a dietitian and she'll work on these things. Um, I was just talking to my dietitian yesterday. we we talked for a minute about Amberlynn and what I had said in my previous video and my dietitian agreed with me and she was like, "I love that you're able to take what you've learned from me and over the last year and give that advice to Amberlynn and try to help her as well." Um, but Amber, Lizzie, are we done already? Yeah, we're done with the Amberlynn video already. It was a short one, and I even yapped for quite a while. Um, we'll see. The cookies, don't know. But again, I don't know how Amberlynn would know that Cracker Barrel has beignets unless she did try to order beignets. Um, I've also had like Dashers or Grubhub drivers, whatever, get to the restaurant, send me a text and say, "Hey, they don't have X. Do you want them to replace it with something else, or do you want to just leave it off and then get a refund?" So that does happen. Um, See, the loss should be enough that the fluctuations. Yes and no, Mars. With Amber Lynn and with her lymphedema, so we have to also take into consideration her medical conditions. She does have lymphedema and lipedema, and those are going to cause more water retention issues and fluid retention issues. So some of those fluctuations just from fluid retention can seem higher than actual weight loss, which is why I've also said that I would like to see her use other metrics than just the scale because she is going to have days where she's bloated. She's going to have days where she's retaining more fluid than others and days that she's retaining more water than others. There's going to be those days because with her medical conditions, she can have a high fluctuation just from fluid retention. So that is something to take into account when it comes to Amberlynn. Um, that she could still be losing weight, but she could just be having water retention fluctuations. So, so yeah, that's a little crazy because even like for me, when I'm on my cycle, my my body weight on the scale can go up like 3 or 4 pounds, and then when my period's over, it goes down like 5 pounds because I've lost a pound or so during that week, but then I'm not bloated from my cycle, right? That's worded bad. I'm tired. It's all good. I understood what you meant, Mars. But yeah, Amber's everybody's bodies are different. See, Lizzie says, I never understood why Dr. Now acted like fluid retention wasn't a thing on my 600-pound life. If those people had just been in a car for days, they could be retaining. They could have, more water retention because, you, you know, even if you're on a flight, your legs will swell from being in the plane for so long and sitting there. That's why people wear compression socks when they're flying to keep that from happening. When I drive to Texas, my calves swell from driving and being sitting from sitting in the car for so long. Um, so these things do happen. These are things to take into account. Um, and Amberlynn does have these other medical issues that do cause weight loss to be a little more difficult and for there to be more fluid retention. So, um, which is why I don't like her only using the scale, but I know that measuring yourself is a chore and she would need her mom's help, right? She would need to have her mom come over on like a Sunday. Hey, let's take measurements, and have like a little keep in her journal, have a little measurement journal and do like weekly measurements like the neck, the bust, the waist, the hips, arms. Um, and I think having another metric to use would help Amberlynn as well instead of focusing only on the scale. So, even just knowing how a piece of clothing is fitting, like, oh hey, I wore this shirt last week or this dress last week, and it feels a little less tight on, my arm or my neck or something. So I think Amberlynn having some other metric to use would also benefit her mentally while she's trying to lose weight instead of relying solely on the scale when she does have so many issues with fluid retention. Um, she needs to do the massages, for sure. She needs to have lower carbs and lower sodium. She can still have carbs, but just keep it a little lower, and that will help the lipedema. Because remember, the lipedema specialist, it's thundering again. The lipedema specialist wanted her to go on keto. Um, I don't think she should do keto because of her gallbladder, but because she would be doing low carb, high protein, high fat, and the fat content would be what would affect her gallbladder. But she could still lower the carbs, but not increase the fat, and I think that would help her lipedema. But that is my opinion. I am not a professional. I am still a fat ass myself, but the scale is going down. From the highest number that I saw this year, which I'm not going to share that number with you, when I weighed yesterday before my appointment, when I weighed that morning, I'm 8 pounds down for the year based on the highest number that I saw. Now, granted, that number was also during a period, so it's probably a few pounds less. So, but I'm not back to my starting weight of last year yet. So, but we're getting there. I will soon not be as big as Touch Venom's couch sofa. um, but yeah, I think that's all we really have today. Today's a pretty short one. Um, so we're going to, I guess, end it there. I hope you all have had a wonderful hump day. We're gonna hope my distracted ass can focus this evening and get some work done. Um, yeah, I'm gonna go downstairs and get some dinner, and then sign into work. But thank you all so much for spending a little bit of your day with me. I do greatly appreciate it. And I'm sorry it was so short, Lizzie, to distract you from work. But hope you all have a wonderful rest of your evening. I'll see you in the Discord. And until next time, be safe and take care. Oh, we may play some video games tonight. We'll see. See you next time.